LPs may defy possible, and blood after blood, they lose money for it. Pools almost seem backwards. You buy a position, and what you receive in return is risk. At a high level, an LP net flow is defined by two components, capital and fees, between a given price range. But market efficiency creates a structural asymmetry. As a price moves outside the active range, the LP is pushed toward one side of the position, and capital becomes increasingly exposed to permanent loss. This is what makes liquidity provision fundamentally different from swaps in traditional markets. Even with mechanisms like dynamic fees, fees remain uncertain, volume dependent, and insufficient to fully offset the exposure. So a residual risk remains. That residual risk is exactly what we estimate. So it can be hedged. And that is what can give institutional LPs the confidence to deploy more capital into liquidity pools. This is why we built DeltaHed hook, a hook that monitors the local state of the pools, estimates residual LP exposure in real time, and activates minimal hedging only when needed.
The heart of DeltaHed resides in the correct disaggregating the capital component of the LP net flow equation, isolating precisely the portion exposed to exogenous price movement and deriving the exact quantity that must be hedged to keep the model economically sustainable all on-chain. The layer 1 starts with the before Unichain pool, which makes this possible through its hooks. The before swap hook gives up the entry signals, one price and liquidity state have settled. The after swap hook closes the observation, and Delta hook uses these two movements to extract the raw signal. Proof price movements, tick delta, liquidity dip, and fee applied. The data fits a 12-phase analytical pipeline that measures local LP exposure, strips out compensation already provided by the directional fee, and produce one number, the residual worth hedging. The hood never calls anything external. It only emits event. The layer 2 reactive network is the trigger layer. Those events across reactive contract listen groups, observation intelligence, enforce call downs, and decide when the signal is strong enough to act. No bots, not off-chain infrastructure to keepers. Pure on-chain automation across chains. The kind of asynchronous execution that a hook alone can do without introducing latency, gas overhead, and external coupling into the swap path. Finally, the layer 3 execution is the execution when the system determines the hedge is guaranteed, directional confirmation, residual above threshold repricing the policy mid. It is partial a signal to open, adjust, or close a perpetual position. The goal is not speculation, is to neutralize exogenous price components of LP capital loss and linearize the net cash flow that a liquidity provider actually takes home. The results, reactive topology integration, is a test that verifies the handoff between the hook pipeline and the reactive orchestrator. It checks that reactive respects the dispatch, call downs, redelivers, and observation hedge state. The simulator is the second most important test that tell us that the model is working and the reactive integration is operational. But the hedge policy is only economical convenience in trending markets, not in mean reverting markets. Mean reverting and volatility stock, the system still behaves currently from execution and cadency standpoint, but the hedge does not pay for itself after the estimate cost. So the strategy is not yet robust across no trending regimes. The simulation indicates that the system already has value. It behaves currently integrates and shows a clear economic upside trendy condition. The main conclusion is that the approach should not be discarded, but the policy needs to be further researched and developed. Our meet, we are Andrea Rojas and Andres Molina, and it was a pleasure.